Cowboy Nation, what's up? It's comedian Rudy Rush. Table Talk is back on. It's your man Brady James, my man Bryce Butler, and we have a guest today. My man Miles Austin is in the building. What's good?
Oh, laying low, man, laying low. Just enjoying it. Glad to be here, man.
All right, so we're going to lay down the rules real quick. You know, we just talk about, life situations, some of the game stuff, things that happen during the week. But I want to start the show off today since you guys, played together, you and Brady. I just want to know how you guys, because you guys are pretty close. You guys are really good friends. So how that relationship kind of...
Miles is one of my all-time favorite teammates. And, people don't know that when you come into the league, you always have what you call a rookie. And your rookie don't necessarily have to be in your position. So Miles wasn't in my position. He just by default became my rookie. So we would go out, we would hang out, and Todd Haley was his position coach. Didn't know anything about Miles. It was just the way that Todd Haley would say his name. And this dude would be out here. We talking about route running. Nobody really knew what Miles had. All we knew was he would outrun everybody every time. And so no matter what was going on, no matter if it was, strength and conditioning, whatever it was, Miles was out there giving it to everyone. And then just to see his maturation and to see him develop into the player that he became, I kind of took a little credit for it because I gave him a hard time like I was supposed to on the defensive side of the ball. So he and I kind of stayed in touch, and that's our story.
Well, one quick story I wanted to talk about, like your fashion sense. Did you get some fashion sense from Brady?
Brady always had excellent fashion sense.
There's a story that all the fellas went out one night and everybody was dressed, a little dapper, shirts or whatever. They said you came into the club, you were a rookie, you just came in with a three-piece suit. Everybody was like, yo, what is this guy doing? You was like, what's up, man?
I always try to step my game up, when I'm around good company. But I don't necessarily remember that story.
It's convenient.
I must have deleted that from my memory. All the hard times that we was getting.
You know how you wear your suits, and sometimes when you got dark suits on, you want to have dark shoes on. And so that's one of the hardest things for Miles. One of the hardest things for Miles was matching his suits with his shoes.
Well,
I'm like, yo,
no money, bro.
I mean, yeah.
You ain't got no money. You got to just work what you got. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what I was wearing.
But I will say my dog suit game is on 10 right now.
Oh, yeah, I stepped it up.
He definitely.
He got his grown man.
He definitely makes sure we know what he got on when he steps on the field.
Now I learned throughout the way, but you got to take them L's early on. You got to take them L's. That's all part of the learning process.
I had to bring it up.
So I took my L's, and from there on, now I'm here. I'm enjoying it, giving back, that knowledge that I learned, through Brady, through those veteran guys when I was there. I passed that on when I became a veteran, and now I'm learning again on a whole nother side, on the scouting and coaching side. That's awesome. It's all you get, you give, and you get, and you give, and it's just it's an ebb and flow of life, man. I'm enjoying it.
Now it's funny you talked about giving because I watched the game last night, Monday Night Football. Now everybody's talking about Wentz, like he's the next best thing or whatever. But one thing that I definitely took from the game last night was before the game, there was a situation with a young man who had stomach cancer, and he built a relationship with the kid. And I think you guys, as football players, you definitely get to meet a lot of folks who are, in that situation, maybe like, disadvantaged or sick or whatever. Like, what are some of the situations you guys have been through and some of the relationships you guys have had? Because I'm sure, Bryce, you get it all the time, too, now that you're out there on the field and people are like, hey, I'm your fan and I'm not doing well or whatever. Like, what are some of those situations? Can you remember some of them?
I don't. A couple of times I forgot the young man's name, but we had we bring a Make-A-Wish kid in every single Friday. So one that Make-A-Wish, this is 5-6 years ago. One of the Make-A-Wish kids came in, and he was from Elmwood. I grew up in Garfield, New Jersey. He was from Elmwood Park, and so the kid comes in. He's with his family. I guess they were my fan at the time, but they were big Cowboy fans. And when the kid told me, I was like, where you from, man? He was like, Elmwood Park. He asked me where I was from. I asked him where he was from. He said Elmwood Park. And I was like, man, I dropped 40 against Elmwood Park. I dropped 40 against Elmwood Park in basketball. It was one of those stories. Coach Garrett was there with me when I said it. He'll never let me let it down. But, like, you have these relationships with these kids, and they're going through tough times. And the courage and just the commitment that they have in getting better is just such an inspiration to players. I mean, it makes us.
And Emily Robbins, who is our director of community relations, she does a great job of those community pieces and Make-A-Wish. Every week we have somebody out at practice on Fridays, and then we'll see them on the game during the game. So one of my situations was we had a guy named Oscar Hernandez. He had terminal cancer. Had him on the show at one particular time while I was playing. And on his bucket list was to meet a cowboy. Now, we got big names like Miles Austin and, Tony Romo, but he wanted to meet one of his favorite players, and it just so happened to be me. I was first off, I was shocked, and I was it felt real good to be that type of player, and got a chance to spend some time with him. And as we spent time, like Miles was saying, it was so inspirational just to see how he fought through his day-to-day process and all the things he had to go through. And then looked up several months later, I think it was a month later, he lost his battle. Wow. But in my office is a picture of he and I, and it reminds me that no matter what your situation is, it's a grind, but it's better than a lot of other people. So, to be here and upright is always a blessing.
Right, yeah. I just feel like, we're giving this platform to be able to give back to those that are in need. And I remember my first couple years in the league when I was in another city. We had a little girl that had like a crazy, I don't even know what she had, but it was like one of those deals where they thought she was gonna die in a few months. And she was just like, her energy levels was crazy. Like, I'm in practice on a Friday and I'm like, I don't wanna really be here right now. And then like she's there. And like you just hear, her, the problem that she's facing, but like you don't see it in her eyes. You see it in her parents, but you don't see it in her eyes. You know what I'm saying? So that like totally just changes you. And I remember me and my teammate at the time, Menelik Watson, we just spent some time with her after practice, talking to her, seeing how she was doing and whatnot. And then we got they said she was gonna be gone in like a month. Wow. Then we got like a picture like 3-4 months later, and she was still alive. Yeah. And then we found out that she lived for like 2 more years. You know what I'm saying? So it was like one of those situations where you felt good about that, just because I don't know how big of a valued opinion or whatever I said to her or whatever, like you just feel good because you were there for her in that situation, and then like it ended up working out. Yeah. Now I haven't figured, I don't know if she's still, trucking right now, but it was just one of those situations where it felt good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, like what I wanted to say to you guys is like, you guys get all types of stuff, not only just the kids who, but I'm sure that there's like family members or people from your own neighborhood needing help. And how do you kind of like, sift through all of that to kind of say, okay, this person needs just someone to talk to, or this person needs help? Like, how difficult is that for you guys?
It's difficult. It's difficult. It's really hard to say no, because I feel like a lot of people think, you got it. You know what I'm saying?
Like you paying for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Miles. Let's drink to that.
I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to dine and dash.
But, I think a lot of it is like what Miles is saying is you have to weed through the bull. And then for us, it's really learning how to say no. Because in a way, you do have it. And you work for it. Yeah. But in order for you to keep it, you got to learn how to say no. Yeah.
That was something my dad taught me. My dad played 12 seasons, so, he used to get me ready when I was in high school. Like, hey, your mom might ask you for something, you got to say no. I might even ask you for something. Nah, you know what I'm saying? You got to put your money in the 401k, bam, bam, bam. And my mom be like, no, I need a new car. Nah, he ain't going to give you no. So, like, my dad kind of, like, taught me how to do it early because he had been through it or whatever, and he made his mistakes or whatnot or whatever. So it kind of made it easier, but it still is kind of hard. You know somebody that might really be going through it, but your family situation, you trying to make sure your family's good. You got kids, you trying to make sure your kid's good. And you have to say no. And sometimes you say yeah, you know what I'm saying? But you get a lot of requests. Yeah. So there's more no's than there are yeses, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you're going to end up with nothing. They're going to have it. They're going to have what you got, and you're going to be trying to get it back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So now let's talk about the gorilla in the room, which is this big win you guys had in San Francisco over the weekend. And it was an exciting game. It was a lot of energy and stuff. Huh?
For who?
Well, you know, for the fans, for the fans, for the people.
Okay,
You know what I mean? But yeah, let's talk about the game. And what were your thoughts on the game? And I'll talk to the vets.
That was a for us. We felt like a must win. You know, coming off a bye, 2-game losing streak, close games. We knew we were playing a tough opponent. It didn't look like that in the game, but at the time they were 0-6, but they lost 5 games to 3 points or less. So we didn't want to go in there lollygagging and mess around and lose, you know, to a team like that in the situation that we're in. We were one of those situations where, like I said, we lost 2 straight. We played the Niners, and then right after we had a divisional opponent, you know what I'm saying, in the Redskins. So we just wanted to get back on rhythm. And the running game finally, like, clicked the way it was clicking last year. And it was all she wrote from there. Like, Zeke was getting off early. And you have a game like that, you know, the receivers ain't going to really catch that many balls. That's why I was like, for who? You know what I'm saying? But it felt good, you know, to be able to win it like that, 40 to, what, 10? Or,
It was a big lead.
40 to something like that, you know.
Miles, what do you think? What do you take from it? Because you're out there on the field now. Like, you know, you're in a different space right now, but
Yeah.
you're out there and you're seeing all the energy. Like, what did you take from the game?
Yeah, I thought, like you said, energy. I thought it was great energy on the sideline for the most part. And Bryce got a block in, which was,
Yeah,
it was
I'm
big to
saying.
say. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? You ain't gonna get it in the air. Sometimes you gotta get it in on the ground.
Yeah.
But he had a big block on Zeke's big touchdown. You know, so I mean, I think it shows how much you care when you kind of step out of your space of doing what you do.
Yeah.
To help, you know, some days it's your game, some days you get off. Other games it's a different type of game.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think it's your game and it's that game. Sometimes they think it's a run game, it's a pass game. So I think to show that adaptability to different circumstances really shows the type of team that we have. That guys, you know, if it's not a passing game, we're gonna be blocking. If it's not a, you know, and just like you want your running backs to block for you in a passing game.
Yeah. So Brady, now you at home chilling, or were you at the game? You don't travel with.
No. I was cooling. I was lamping.
So what did you take from the game? Because you watch though, because you watch every game, and you watch and you kind of analyze. And we talk sometimes, you know, like even before we get on here, you kind of be like, "Yo, this is what happened," and blah blah blah. So what is your take from the game?
I thought it was a total team effort, and it was a total team win. That's the formula, and that's what you try to get to. And in order to stack wins and become on that championship road, you got to win the games you're supposed to win. Because if you don't win those, you have no chance of winning the ones that you're not supposed to win, whatever that means. So with that being said, it can be a boring game. You want to have a boring game as a receiver, and what that leads to is a dub, meaning that when the run game is hitting, defensively they can get after the quarterback, and the linebackers played exceptionally well this particular game. Everybody was doing what they were supposed to do. Then you get Dan Bailey that goes out, and you got Heath comes in, and everybody that is that armchair coach. When you see this guy kick off, I was like, okay, yeah, you know, maybe. But then when he kicked that first field goal that went in, I don't care who you are, when you played, you felt like you could do it. You're like, oh, this guy did it, I can do that, you know. But really, you can't, because then the second play when he kicked the second field goal, I was like, nah, it's good. I'm at the crib watching it. But it really was a good win, and looking forward to building on that part of it, because if you don't build, then you get into that 8-8 situation, and that's a very volatile situation to be in, and you don't have to do it if you just take care of business.
And the NFC East is really tight right now because, I mean, like Washington lost last night. You guys have the same record. And, like, you know, the Eagles are out front. But, you know, playing in the NFC East, you know, that doesn't mean much. You know, just getting in the playoffs, then you have a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Our division is very tough. It feels like even a couple years ago when every team was not good, there was still like some type of race to try to get into the playoffs. So yeah, I think the Skins are 1-2 in the division because they lost to Philly twice, and I think they beat the Giants, and we're 1-0. So we have to go out there and get this win this weekend.
Definitely. So next opponent.
You got the Washington Redskins up in FedEx. It's gonna be a grinder.
What you think, big guy?
It's good. We really get an opportunity to see where we are and if we're trying to be that championship team. This is the test, and you have the opportunity to go out and take care of business. And I know from the scouting report and all the things that the coaches are thinking about, the players are thinking about, winning cures a lot of situations.
Oh, yeah.
And once you win, you have that springboard to propel you to the next week. And I think here we are.
Yeah.
So for everybody, it's your man Rudy Rush. So I want to thank y'all for joining us for Table Talk. Miles is paying for all of this, so we want to thank him especially. He's about to dip off to the bathroom, but yo, we'll check y'all out on the next episode of Table Talk with Brady, Bryce, my man Miles, Rudy Rush. We'll see y'all later.